Hello, this is RV Vagabond Jerry, and I am going to take a tour to Chimney Rock National Monument. There's two tours you can take here. One is a lower tour and one is the upper tour. I'm only going to do the upper tour, which is going to have me walking all the way up to this mesa right here, which is right next to these two rock monuments. This is Chimney Rock, the smaller of the two, and this one is called Companion Rock. And along the way we're supposed to see a lot of Indian homes that are over 1,000 years old. So come along with me and I will show you what is up there.
Those people particularly all fairly active in the sense that people, they come up here to make sure that what we're doing is quite acceptable to them. When we have a fertility rate for population expansion, more mouths to feed. So these people were coming out of the different areas looking for places to grow their crops. So they came up all the river valleys. Originally settled over the river terraces, but eventually expanded up here. And our questions about what they did expanding up here is basically to try and explain what these are pit houses. They're the local group of people here. They lived in these in that position beyond the sun before you stand a chance of it actually rising between the two pinnacles of Chimney Rock. Okay, now this occurs in at least 3 places that I'm aware of in England: a Stonehenge, a place in Scotland and another place in Wales. It also occurs at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst because an astrophysicist there actually built on campus this thing to frame this thing. Right? As far as anybody is aware though, this is the only naturally occurring place that it has. And where they didn't balance properly, they put little thin stones called Chimney stones in until they were nicely balanced, and then they would have muddied the whole thing over. Now the Chacoans knew how to do it. Chacoan building went through 5 different phases, and the style that we have up here is called typical type 3. So it wasn't actually in the middle of the cycle, it was more towards the end. You go and look at it close up, you can tell the difference between the original building and the reconstruction. The Chacoans used a lot more of the little chinking stones. You know, they really worked on getting this whole thing balanced, and then the mudding was just like a thick, heavy waterproofing coating. It wasn't like Portland cement holding everything in place. John, which is the original piece? This piece is more of the original sort of structure. Okay, so this is a doorway. Pottery plants, burned rafters, and a couple of pieces of braided corn that also partially burned that have been hung over on the rafters. So undecorated except for the corrugations which they do as part of the construction of the pot. It was full of wind-blown dirt. They went to the University of Arizona, and for a number of scientific measurements, it's impossible to replicate the conditions that this pot survived in for 1,000 or more years. And so it's in the University of Arizona slowly disintegrating because it's, you know. They didn't find anything. And then the last week we had a big hailstorm. And when they came back the next day, they could see pits in what they thought was bedrock, which indicated them it wasn't, it was just another false floor. And when they managed to break through that fourth floor, they found a completely intact grizzly bear jaw. It's a style of kiva that's found quite a lot in Chacoan areas, in the Chacoan outliers, but also in Chaco itself. It is a very distinctive style. It has this bench that goes all the way around it with these pilasters. And they did some reconstruction a couple of years ago and put these logs in to show you what the purpose of a pilaster was. The logs actually go back into the wall, so they're substantially supported by the wall, so they can't tip or anything. And then the roof logs would have gone from one to the other, most likely in a herringbone pattern. There's a photograph of Roberts, who was standing over in that corner in the 1920s. I have no idea how tall he was, but you know, he was very thin. And he was thin and young. So, but compare his height with the height of the depth of the structure here. And I would say that probably 3 Roberts on top of each other would have gone. So this is a deep pocket. It's probably a lot more reliable income than farming, that's for sure.
No
or ranching. You know? So
that's what they said. It makes it
but
the
here,
ranchers have found them.
right.
Come in and pretty much looted the site.
See, here it's kind of interesting because the Chimney Rock area is completely surrounded by the Ute reservation. And the Utes have no ties to these people. And, you know, a lot of the native Americans don't provide blessings with areas that other, so it's public land. So if she walks up to the bottom, she can do it.
You need to carry a bigger stick.
It is a spectacular view and it's really nice to sort of shift and do it. People come up here and bring their horses and stuff like that, but not very many. Mostly it's just for locals, you know, where you can say. Because the sun rises on that bowl that's the saddle between Chimney Rock on the right and Companion Rock on the left. And so basically it's a profile of a face with a nose, nostril, mouth, receding chin and a big fat cheek. And it's resting on a rectangular block of sandstone, and over to the left side of that rectangular block there are white streaks. And that's the guano from the peregrine's nest. Right now, every year the peregrines...
Well, this is the end of my tour. They don't want you going any further up. So, I hope you've enjoyed it. Good day, folks.